fresh polls abetoja on NPP Primaries 31st January 2026. Where every Musah Dankwah Global Info Analytics. Samra Maker said in the month of December, they call January no. Why and a lady in NPP polls no. Now between Kennedy Akompreko Japan and Dr. Alhaji Muhammad Bawumia, who is leading Musah Dankwah at church in Semo or the chat no about two one at the Cronty and Crofobie as omobe vote Ediama Bawumia at the Cronty and Crofobie as ombe vote Ediama Kennedy Akompreko at Japan. Musah Dankwah 18 same way hunkomo nane analysis and I say pose or the ababatu janum. It is a Musah Dankwah eka.
The same ethnicity, 4%, it moves in the same direction as ethnicity. And then we ask them, if the elections were held today, who would you vote for? Bawumia, it did 43%. Kennedy, 18%. Brian, 5%. Edechum, near zero. Kobna Japan, near zero. Undisclosed, we won't tell you, 15%. Undecided, 19%. So this is the current look of the race when you account for every decisions of the delegate. So here, nobody is crossing 50%. But remind you, these guys have a place to go. Some of them will go to these candidates. We don't know how much will go to all of them yet. So when that happens, some people will move up than where they are. And then the undecided, when they split, wherever they go, the elections goes there. 19%. Now, the reason why we're saying Bawumia is much closer is that he needs only 7% after the 19%.
Musah, you recall that ahead of the 2024 elections,
yes,
when you talk about undisclosed and undecided, you were able to give us an idea.
We'll get there. We'll get there. We will get there. We will get there. We have to find a way of going through their heads.
Yeah.
And then you can figure out what's going to happen. Now, if you look at somebody who says, I'm undecided, and he's saying that, oh, it's good to give somebody a second chance, watch out for that kind of delegate.
He's undecided.
Undecided.
Yeah, he's saying to give another person another chance.
Exactly. So what we do is that we ask these questions much earlier than who would you vote for, so that he doesn't get a chance to change his vote after. So he's told you his mind, what he's thinking. So if he says he's undecided, you can figure it out. Now, breakdown of the results by region. Who is leading where? In Ahafo, Bawumia leads 49%. In Ashanti, he leads 34%, Ken 13%. In Bono, Bawumia 51%, Ken 13%. In Bono East, Bawumia 60, Ken 18. In Central, it's a square, 33 for Bawumia, 32 for Kennedy.
But that's Ken's
region, yes.
Region.
Yes. Yeah. Eastern region, look, Bawumia 44, Ken 10, Brian 10. So trouble there for Ken in Eastern region. Yeah. In the Greater Accra region, 35 for Bawumia, 19 for Ken, 4 for Brian. In Northeast, 81 for Bawumia. In Northern region, 61 for Bawumia. In Otik, 61 for Bawumia, 16 for Ken. In Savannah, 33 for Bawumia, 13 for Ken. In Upper East, 72 for Bawumia, 16 for Ken. In Upper West, 55 for Bawumia, 28 for Ken. In voter region, 35 for Bawumia, 44 for Ken. And in the Western region, 34 for Bawumia and 10 for Ken. Western North, 56 for Bawumia and 18 for Ken. If you compare these results to what they were telling us in terms of do you think somebody should be given a second chance, the results of the regional numbers are almost the same. Because in the voter region, they said no, Ken is winning there.
Yeah.
In Central region, it was closer. Ken is matching almost head to head there. So that data reflects what they were doing here. Now, we use what we call committed voters, people who mention people's name.
Yes.
I am voting for this guy. This excludes those who are undecided and those who say they won't disclose. On that basis, Bawumia goes to 63%.
Okay. Ken
29%, Brian 7%, 1% would go to Edechum, and near 0% for Kobna Ejapon. This is not what the results will be.
Yeah.
This is when you exclude those who mention names. this is how those who mention names look like. But you must figure out, in terms of our model projections, where those undisclosed will go and where would those undecided will go. The regional numbers almost reflect the same, nothing changes much. Kennedy still wins the voter region. Central is very close. Now, if you look at the differences, in October, DMB was 44, now 43, declined 1%. Kennedy was 19%, 18%, down 1%. Brian Champon, 5%, still 5. He remains stable. Educhum, 1%, now 0, down 1%. Japan, 1, now 0. You can see that the movement from Bawumia, Kennedy, and the rest has gone to pile onto undecided.
Yeah.
See, what should happen is that when somebody loses ground, that number should come to you.
Yeah.
But it's not going to
anybody.
Anybody. And they are moving to undecided. And that is what makes this race very tricky. Now, runoff scenario. Runoff, who would you vote for? Bawumia 45. Not just 2 points ahead of from the previous number. 10, now 19 from 18. Undisclosed 15 has not changed. 21% for undecided. So it's gone up in terms of the runoff. Now, if you do the regional analysis,
it's almost similar.
The same,
Yeah.
almost the same. And then if you do on the basis of committed, 68, 32. We're not saying this will be the outcome of the election. It's pure mathematics that we are showing the number in a different way. Now, if you look at it, this is where you see the difference, the impact of Kennedy declining in the approval rating. Bawumia was 46%. It goes to 45, down 1% in the runoff. Kennedy was 23%. He goes to 19%, down 4%. The effect, you see, in the runoff, you have Brian people behaving differently, Edichum people behaving differently.
Looking at the Musah Dankwah, a the post, Global Info Analytics, or Makoye, nobody about Monteno, Nesse, Dr. Alhaji Muhammad Bawumia, former vice president, NHS, will lead a year race, and a war, not Kennedy, a complex with Japan, etoso. In fact, a Sembebri and a war who wants to say a lady to air this particular a post, Abeton Montane.
Japan people behaving differently. So if you're not seen favorably among them, the decline will begin to show in the runoff. They will break off or break away, not in your direction, but in someone else's direction. That's what we've seen here. Here you can see that those who are undecided gone up by 5%. So they have moved from Bawumia 1%, Ken 4%, and they've gone to undecided. Now, let's look at this. For those who are voting for Brian in the runoff, where will they go? The poll shows that almost half of them will go to, not half, about 26% will go to Kennedy, 27% will go to Bawumia, 35% undisclosed, 12% undecided. For those who are voting for Kennedy, in the runoff, he loses 3% of his own people to Bawumia. In the runoff, 2 go to undisclosed, and in the case of Educhum, 22% of his people will go to Kennedy, but 28% will go to Bawumia. 44% not disclosing, 6% undecided. When it comes to DMB, look, only 1% of people switch runoff to Ken, but Ken lost what, 3. So Bawumia has +2 advantage for cross. And then he gets 98%. Ken gets 95%. So Bawumia has a loyal base. They are more loyal than what we see in the case of Kennedy Japan. Something he needs to work on seriously. And those who are voting for Kennedy Japan, look, 22 go to Kennedy, but 33 go to Bawumia. So Bawumia is getting more. And for Ken to do well, he must be getting more of the other candidates' vote when it comes to second. We're not seeing that. And that's a problem that he has to address. Now, when you look at this race in the context of the last election, this speaks volume. In the case of DMB, he has lost 4% of his original base to Brian Champon. He has lost 6% to Kennedy, 1% to Dr. Educhum, but he retains 71% of his core support last time. 15% are undecided, 4% are not disclosing. When you come to Kennedy Japan, he has lost 5% of his base last year or last election to Brian Champon.
Yeah.
He has lost 1% to Educhum and lost 11% to Bawumia. So altogether, about 17% of his base has gone to his opponents. Whereas for Bawumia, he has only lost 11% to his opponents. So Bawumia has plus advantage of about 5 or 6% cross-carpeting. That's why he's still leading.
Yeah.
Now, if you look at those who did not vote in the last election, they didn't vote. 5% of them said they vote for Brian Achampo. 20% Ken. 1% Educhum. But 34% going for Bawumia. So he still dominates that. So overall, the numbers are down for everybody, but it seems to be a lot more down for Kennedy than it is for Bawumia. These are the changes between the defection rate. Now, regional blocks. We look at the Akan regions. In the Akan regions, currently, Bawumia 43, Ken 22, 6 Brian, 2 Educhum, 2% Kobnaji Japan, and 12% not disclosing, and 13% undecided. I'm going to just focus on this. In the swing regions, very close. Somehow, 39% for Bawumia, 15% for Ken, 4% for Brian, 1% Educhum, and 1% for Japan, and 21% not disclosing, 20% undecided. When we come to the northern region, Bawumia 56. Now he goes what? 62.
A jump.
Up 6%. And Kennedy 15, now 13, 2 down. Champon 2%. So Bawumia has gained in the November round of polls. When it comes to OT, Bawumia goes up 2%, but Kennedy goes up 20%.
Okay.
That's why he was winning in voter region.
Musah, we need to go. I have 2 questions.
Yes.
Number 1, how do you respond to people who say that this election, the number is expanded? We are doing close to 400,000 delegates. And now you do a sample of just 3,500. I'm sure this question has come to you a number of times. How do you respond to people who say that this may not be a true reflection? Because a 400,000 delegate system, and you're just doing 3,500. Second question, is this likely to change? So let's say 31st January, from the trend that you are seeing.
Okay. We have seen the last question first. Consistently, the gap between Bawumia and Kennedy has hovered around 20-25%. That's the gap.
Okay.
Constantly on likely for this model. Until that number drops quite significantly, it will be difficult to see a big shift in the numbers, just from that aspect. So for Ken to drag this race, really, Bawumia should not be around 43%. It should be maybe mid-35.
Okay.
Mid-35. That is the only way that you can see a plausible runoff scenario in this race. And NPP delegates are quite stable. In terms of the number, you're not seeing big movement. 1% there. And those changes don't dramatically alter the course of a race.
Okay.
In terms of the
size.
Look, I've always used soup as an example. When you are cooking pot of soup, you bring the ingredients step by step. Get the onion, get this, get that, get that. It's all a way of getting the soup right. Once you have followed the ingredient process right, and the soup is ready, you want to taste the soup. Sammy, you can either fetch a whole bowl and drink the bowl to test whether the soup is right, or you take a small spoon, right, and taste the soup.
The soup, which one? Is it in Katinkwai or Abenkwai?
And NHS the fresh and latest poll Aberton Mountain on NPP Primaries 31st January 2026. Musah Dankwah of Global Info Analytics Abedi Nkomo Ewo Honom. Aha, Dowona TV. Chawadim, comment section.